Well, do you know the difference between Hispanic and Latino? Remember, Hispanic refers to people who speak Spanish or come from a Spanish-speaking country. Latino is typically used to identify people from Latin America. Now that you know the difference between the two terms, let's get you over to our lead race and culture reporter, Kandace Redd. Kandace, you're digging deeper into ethnicity, culture, identity within these diverse groups.
Madison, good evening to you. Well, the Hispanic and Latino population is extremely diverse. The terms Hispanic and Latino are rooted more so in shared cultures rather than racial categories. And one way to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month is simply by recognizing the diverse cultures and heritage often left unseen.
You don't have to look a certain way, be a certain way, have a certain height, have a certain color.
More than 60 million Hispanics and Latinos live in the U.S., and they're not all the same, from their skin color, language ability, and mixed race heritage.
I definitely identify as Mexican American. And when people try to tell me, like, this is your culture, you need to look at Aztec dancers every day, I'm just like, I'd never experienced that growing up.
I think I identify very strongly with my Black community in Bolivia.
More than 15 million Hispanics and Latinos call California home, but since most of them have a Mexican background, Afro-Latinos and indigenous people are often forgotten.
If you are Black, you are always at the bottom of the society. Other Blacks are living in other communities, and they're still facing the same issues that people are facing here, our brothers and sisters. So educating about diversity is very important, not only what we have inside our country, but the people that are coming to our country.
My parents were Salvadorian immigrants, so they were the first generation, and then I'm the child of immigrants. They really wanted me to speak really great English.
Spanish is the most dominant language in the U.S. after English, with more than 40 million people using Spanish at home. But not all Hispanics or Latinos speak the Romance language.
As someone with parents who are Central American, who are primary Spanish speakers, and the experiences that I've had as a bilingual individual kind of growing up in the 90s in America, those are both equally powerful and both define a little bit of who I am.
I don't like people making assumptions or like speaking Spanish to me just because I look like I speak Spanish. Yes, I do speak actually Spanish, English, and Italian. There's 33 Latin American countries. Out of those 33 Latin American countries, only 60% speak Spanish.
Spanish is my first language, but what if you are a Black Latino or Black Caribbean who's coming from Haiti, for example, right? So you will speak French or Creole.
Within the community, there's a lot of diversity. My culture is, it's as much like video games and Marvel movies as it is pupusas and the traditional textiles that I grew up seeing in my household. And it's, it's a hodgepodge.
My culture in Mexico is basically family, food, and not even music. It was really, really different than your typical Mexican. I had a lot of pushback from my fellow, people that were from Mexico. They were like, they treated me differently, they saw me differently. So I didn't really feel accepted.
For me, growing up in a house where we eat rice, plantains, chicken, was my culture. I'm that Black Bolivian who moved to the US and now is trying to accommodate his life in the mainstream of life in the US.
I think Hispanic is more than a person's skin tone. I think it's a person's experience navigating the systems and navigating the world that we live in.
Now remember, Hispanics and Latinos are not all the same, as I mentioned before. This is even when it comes to terminology and labels. Some people identify using the terms Hispanics, Latino, or Latinx. And of course, don't forget Latine. But others have no preference or use no term at all. Madison?
Absolutely, Kandace. And if you want to know how someone identifies, it's best to ask. Kandace, thank you.